Hi guys, it's Hayden Crawford from the Dreemtime Academy, and I'm a wellness coach and spiritual teacher specializing in color therapy and numerology. Welcome to today's live edition, a very special edition of the Numerology show. Now, today we're going to be tapping into one of the most important energetic gateways of the year, the Firehorse Equinox. So this isn't just another episode. This is a live activation, a moment in time where the energy is shifting rapidly and your life path number is being directly impacted. So have you been feeling the push to make changes in your career or sensing that something bigger is calling you forward right now? Well, this isn't by accident. Today, we're going deep and we're going to be exploring how this equinox energy is accelerating some life path numbers, challenging others, and opening powerful new opportunities for those who are ready to align with it. I'm so excited to be joined by the incredible Sarah Yip here today, who will be sharing her intuitive and numerological insights. Hi, Sarah. It's lovely to have you with me.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. It's just amazing to be with you here today, and for you to be sharing your incredible gifts with everybody who comes into the chat, and obviously who watches the replay of this very special edition of the Numerology show. Now, it is interactive, so please make sure that you drop your date of birth or your life path number and any questions into the chat as we go through, and we can answer those questions, can't we? So, Sarah, I'm going to hand over to you now. Did you want to briefly explain, why this equinox is so important to you specifically?
Well, firstly, thanks so much for having me, Hayden, and your beautiful community. And hello, everyone. And you've done such a good job in your recent videos, Hayden. I've just been watching them. They are so comprehensive. You've put so much love and care into them. It is a very potent combination. We have a one universal year, which we only have every 9 years. We have a fire horse year, which we haven't had for 60 years since a lot of revolution and war on the planet. We have equinox coming up. All the planets are direct for the next 6 weeks, which is the only time that will happen this year. Mercury's just about to come out of retrograde in the next day. So this is very much a time to open, to say yes, to leap, and it's going to be before you're ready. There is no question that the most important things in life are scary. And as I like to say to people, you have to eat your fear for breakfast or it will have you for dinner. So that's the main thing about the energies right now. Now, in terms of that universal 1 year, it's a lot about the root chakra. Why are you here? Why did you choose this body? Why did you choose your family? And so this is a fantastic time to get into the type of offerings that, you are doing, Hayden, and also things like numerology, which really go back to your blueprint, your job description, what enticed you to Earth again, how far you've come with your soul contracts and how far you have to go. And this kind of check-in does take a lot of courage. There's so many people out there who will sell you something that soothes the pain briefly. And it's like a stopgap. It's a dopamine hit. But if you really want to transform in this lifetime, it's going to require a little bit more commitment. And I know that can be like a 4-letter word for some people, but when you're really coming from the heart, there is no other path.
That's beautiful. I totally agree with that. That's gorgeous. We've got some people coming into the chat. So should we say hello to a few of the guys that are coming in? We've got Maria. Who's here. So hi, Maria. It's nice to see. She's a life path 3. We've got hello to Sen Lewin. I think Sarah knows your life path already. Somebody you know already, Sarah. We've got the lovely lady laughing as well. That's a great name, isn't it? And we've also got Anna Thaxton here as well, and Alice. Nice to see you, Alice. And Aaron as well. Nice to see you, Aaron, as well. Welcome to the show. So we're going to be going through as many of you guys as we possibly can, aren't we, today, as we're answering some questions and Sarah's explaining what's behind the Firehorse equinox. And I guess that, my next question to you is, like, why do you think it's especially significant for career and life purpose right now? What do you think?
Well, when we look at the root chakra, it's about survival. And a lot of people are in survival mode. And the truth is, most of humanity is in survival mode. But we, in, I suppose, the Western world have had a veneer, we've had an illusion, in a way. We're in a bit of a bubble. Even with social media, even with a lot of, the news out there, it's not always in our face. But this year it will be. It'll be people that who have to make really big pivots. There'll be, things to do with health, with the family unit, with money. And so let's be honest, we need something to do with our time. As much as they predicted many years ago we would be all living lives of leisure, that has not happened for the majority of us, right, Hayden?
Nope.
There's certainly more ease. There's a lot of opportunities and technology and things, but we are still needing to really apply ourselves in daily terms. And when it comes to work, obviously it gives us a very strong sense of purpose, and it gives us a way out of the well of despair and frustration and fear. And I know a lot of people on this call want to be of service in this lifetime, and they don't want to be like a drain on society. They really want to change and make new pathways. And so for me, I've always been very interested in helping people with challenging career decisions. I suppose the most common thing I see, because I specialize in people who go through that 11/11 awakening, and there's 4 stages. They come to me in the middle when they're about to leave their corporate career, or they really know that they need to leave some sort of secure form of income generation for something that liberates them and that really opens up the field. And so this is my passion, and I'm just delighted to be able to talk about it right now. And I do just really feel that a lot of people will be looking for alternative sources of income right now, and also to get more out of their time, really.
Absolutely. So why does it affect different life path numbers in a different way? Are there some numbers more accelerated or more challenged than others?
That's a very political question. All numbers are beautiful in their own way. And of course, we are a combination of numbers. Our life path number is only the head and shoulders of our chart. It's just an entry point. It's maybe 25% of the readings I would be doing. We'd also be looking at the name, which is extremely significant for career. It's basically your brand. So life path is just one way in. But it's also true that there are certain life paths who feel it more when times are a little bit more tough in the outer world. So we've got the life paths 1, 4, and 7 are at the bottom of the numerology grid. And they hold up other people, they hold up the world. They do a lot of, what's just happened?
There we go. I'm just demonstrating there what you're saying so people can understand.
Perfect. And so when we look at, this is the number system I use, and there are different systems. 1, 4, and 7 are the life paths where they're practical. They will believe it when they see it. They like to test things and learn through trial and error. And right now they are seeing the world around them rapidly change. And that can cause anxiety, because sometimes for people with day's life paths, it takes a little bit more trust and a little bit more effort and support to bring in that spiritual side, because they generally don't like to lose control. So obviously that's very broad, and there are plenty of people who have 1, 4s, and 7s in their chart who are incredibly connected, but I think even they would tell you it's taken a lot more, because naturally they're more grounded, they're closer to earth, and people are relying on them all the time, so they don't always have that opportunity to go and sit in a mountain, right, and meditate. So yeah, all life paths have like a different function in society, and so yeah, that's just kind of a broad way of looking at it.
Yeah, that's really well articulated, Sarah. I love that. So for those that are really feeling stuck in their career, what guidance can numerology provide for making aligned moves, especially during the equinox?
Well, there's a couple of questions I would invite people to reflect on. And one of the biggest ones is, who is your God? Who do you feel at the end of your life is going to judge you as, giving you that grade or pass or not a pass, through the gates? and even sit down, draw your version of God, dance it out, sing it out, speak it out, talk it out with someone. A lot of us have done the spiritual work, but when you actually get them to put it on a piece of paper, it's still an old white guy, a bit like Santa Claus with a big stick. And it can take some really deliberate work to rewire that. I like to see God or source as more of a tree. And in fact, sometimes when my clients are too serious, I actually say God is a bunch of grapes. And I will bring out the grapes and I'll be like, you want to try one? And they'll eat it and go, oh, that felt naughty. Let's do it again. So that's one thing, because that is ultimately going to direct where you put your energy. Another thing to do is to really reflect on how much you've integrated that father energy or king energy into yourself, rather than looking for it on the outside world, where basically they decide when you get to do things, how you get to do things, if you get to do things. This is a time to clear up your parents' stuff. We see so often, if something happens to someone's father, they get sick or something, they remarry, the person's career goes through a really big shift. I see it all the time. I don't know exactly why, but in some ways our work is this way that we prove ourselves. So look at that connection with the divine, how you see it and view it. Look at that connection with that king or father energy. And finally, really check in with yourself regarding whether you have a community, because sometimes it's not so much about what you do or how much you make as whether you've got people by your side. And as much as we like to think that we live in a silo and we can do everything ourselves, there's so much pleasure in having people to hold our hands along the way, and someone to, bake with, and someone to sing with. And those simple pleasures can kind of make any position and really any choice in life so much more palatable.
That's beautiful. Yeah, community is so important, Sarah, isn't it? I think we forget that we've all become so isolated, or we sort of interact with people from behind a screen instead of face to face. And I think that as we move into this new phase, I think there's going to be a reassemblance of face to face contact, and being able to look into each other's eyes, because that's where you can really identify the person's soul. So with regards to like timing and opportunities then, so are there specific windows during the equinox where making decisions or taking action is more powerful for each life path, do you think?
So if it's okay, I'm probably gonna start bigger. So
Yeah,
basically
sure.
this is a year where initiative is rewarded. However, you also have a personal year cycle, which is slightly different to the global year, and ideally you look at both. Now, in this year, energetically, it didn't really start till February because of the Firehorse energy, and really doesn't start till right now, which is the start of the Western astrology year. So for those people who felt like January was a write-off, it was essentially the tail end of that 9 universal year, and it was a cleanup stage, and a lot of people were quite tired. But people are going to absolutely notice a big pickup right now. The whole year is just full of fire. Whether you look at Western astrology, full of fire and Aries, Chinese astrology, full of fire, and the horse is also a fire animal. And even in tarot numerology, with the sun shining, also a fire card. And so this is where the fire starts to burn really, really hot around this time. And the question is, how will you use this influx of massive energy? Some people are going to burn out, and some people are going to light up. And this really comes down to the preparation you've been doing, and again, the community you've got. So right now is a potent time to get going on things that you've thought about your whole life, and especially in the last 10 years. In terms of this year, realistically, April's a really big, busy period, and September's a really big, busy period. And you'll see a lot of people launching things around those times. Most people these days are looking at moon calendars, astrology, numerology. They realize that you can't fight the universe. It's better to be friends with it.
Absolutely. Be friends with the universe. Yeah, you don't want it to turn against
Thank
you.
you.
So with the numerology and energy work specifically, how can people then use their own personal numerology to work with the energy of the equinox on a practical kind of daily level, do you think?
Realistically, the equinox is a time of balance and resets. And obviously, it's a little different. If you're in Australia, we're going into winter, which is a time to kind of hibernate. Whereas, of course, in the other hemispheres, they're going into spring. So it depends a little bit on where you're at. But essentially, with that balancing of the night and day, this is the time to reflect, to really reflect and to give thanks, to heal yourself, to rejuvenate. In terms of gifts to oneself, I think learning numerology is a way of getting more truthful and getting more powerful. So maybe going back to your chart or doing your chart for the first time. And most of all, doing your family charts. I see a lot of people do individual numerology readings. I've always been more interested in the dynasty behind the star, or the constellation behind the star. So I always encourage people to do your children's life paths, your parents, your partners, your ex-partners. And what will happen is the patterns will convince you that this is real. I have done a number of charts for like big groups, families, and organizations, and you can always see where the energy is going. When you look at several people's charts, it's unmistakable what is happening in that group. But it does take a little bit more bandwidth. It's probably not for everyone. That's my favorite thing is, those more complicated systems.
Yeah, of course. But if we strip it back to sort of basics, I know that there's a load more to numerology than just the life path, but if we were to look at some life path numbers and how it may affect and impact on people, maybe we can go to
that
chat.
That picture, and then maybe we can look at some of these questions. There's some really great questions in the chat too. Is it
There
okay
is,
if we
isn't
go back
there?
to the
There's
end?
some really great questions in the chat. So maybe we'll come to Dina first. Questions around adoption. She said she's had three names, birth, maiden, and married. I know my birth date. These are adoptees that there are adoptees that don't. Advice on how they can explore a spiritual side or their purpose. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, this is an important question. So you do know your date of birth because you were there when it happened, and you know it in your body. So there are ways that we can tune into that. You could use a pendulum, kinesiology, mediumship, things like that. And so there are actually ways you can tap in. Also with numerology, if you've got two birth dates, which I've had at times, or people born at midnight, you can do two charts. The timings will be different and you'll be able to match it back to see which one is really their soul contract. I've never found someone who had two separate life paths per se. There's always one that it's much more obvious. In terms of how they can explore things, I actually am originally a palm reader, so everyone's got a hand. And so we can again see a lot of life purpose, chakras, and timings in the hand. You could use things like tarot, etc. So you don't necessarily need your date of birth or time of birth in order to get into your soul contract. There are many other ways. And interestingly, as you explore those ways, it's very likely that someone is going to let you know your date of birth because the energy rises and the truth comes out. I see it happen all the time. People are like, I don't know who my dad is. I don't know this. I don't know that. And I'm like, give it some time, give it some energy. Miracles are possible. It's not 100%, but there's a pretty good hit rate because we are also very connected and the universe loves wholeness. So I hope that helped a little bit.
Oh, well, maybe we can go to Alice next. Alice was born on the 24th of the 4th, 1949. Is there any guidance that you can offer her over this period of time?
So I can see that Alice in this system, which is the Add-Across Life Path system, is a 33-6, which we call the Master Healer, the Whistleblower, and the Big Mouth, because it's got the double threes, which is speaking up. We know that 33-6s are healing their third eye, and they often have a great love of spirituality, but they'll have one or two things they don't want to learn because it's a little too close to home, which can be so funny. So you'll meet them and they'll be like, I love tarot, I love astrology, but I'll never do numerology. And I'm like, that would be a past life. We should get to that at some point. And that's just me being a little bit lighthearted, but they do often have an area they're like, never. And I'm like, straight for it. So as a 33-6, obviously, the more she speaks up or talks to people about it, the more it's going to develop. 33s are really fast. I had a numerology class once, and out of 6 students, 4 were 33s, 2 were twins. I have never felt so much pressure to get through the material. They're like, is that it? Is that it? I've already read the notes. It's only morning tea. And I went, whoa, dudes. Like some of us are human. So I encourage you to have a lot of faith in yourself. You definitely have the ability. Anyone with double numbers like 11, 22, 33, 44, naturally very psychic because it keeps you alive. But also don't be afraid to have like different teachers read different books. My friend Chezi Denya's just published a really good mediumship memoir. And I'm just looking at the personal year for that lady. Hang on. 1. So you're going into an 11 personal year from April. That would be a great time to actually come out of the spiritual closet and to maybe even do cooperative partnerships to present some of the information you found. Yeah, look, I wish you a lot of luck. I'm also studying mediumship after avoiding it my whole life. And the reason I'm doing that is my kids, actually, because I have noticed that they have some gifts and I don't want to be leaving them to the random internet trolls to teach them. So I'm facing my fears too. Anyway, look, thanks. Great questions.
There's another question here as well that's coming from Indigo Star. And she says, if the time of birth is not listed on the birth certificate, is that a problem? I'm giving an astral reading.
Not entirely sure what an astral reading is, but in my practice where I'm using numerology, tarot, palmistry, and psychic ability, it's absolutely not an issue and I don't ask for it. If you were an astrologer, perhaps that would be a deal breaker. But again, you could use pendulum, kinesiology, hypnosis to potentially go back. I just want to give a heads up that sometimes your birth certificate's not correct, even though it's got the time and things. You still need to energetically check that stuff. People make mistakes. So yeah, I hope that helps you. Please don't feel like something is being denied to you. Very often it's part of our life purpose. If there is some mystery that we've been born with, etc., it's often part of our life purpose. And as we uncover that, we'll often go on to help other people with the same challenge.
Okay, brilliant. So Maria is a life path number 3. So I'm going to sort of share the screen again, and just so that we can have a look at. Oh, hang on a second. See if I can find it again. I don't know if I can actually. I can't work out how to bring up the screen share again, but we sort of saw it earlier on. For a life path 3, what might be going on for Maria?
All right, we just got a life path to go on. I haven't got extra information, but what I can tell you about life path 3s, a lot of people call them the artists. But not all of them are classical artists. Like, while some of them have learned, painting and drawing and singing and dancing, some of them are actually very scientific and logical, and that is okay too. There are so many ways to create newness in the world. So please understand that the way the 3 expresses can sometimes be misunderstood. 3 energy is about the solar plexus. It's about courageous communication, talking about the things other people are scared of. Often you'll find with a 3 is that they actually have a fear of being criticized and of communicating openly. And again, it is a lot about community, education, and patience with themselves. Your life path number is something to master over a lifetime. You will usually start as the opposite of your life path. For example, if you're a life path 1, they're having a huge year in 2026, you will often start as less independent, less confident, less strong than other people, during the pregnancy, conception, and early years of your life. It is something that we are exploring. And I feel like that's something that can get missed in numerology. It is, a big adventure. So you want me to go through the,
that would be great. Yeah. We're having a caption nightmare today, aren't we? There you go.
So if Mercury doesn't go direct until tomorrow, we'll just say thank you to computers for existing, right? Thank you. Exactly. So let's go through some career tips by life path. Hopefully people can see this. This is something that I just mocked up, and I hope you enjoy it. So if you know that you're a life path 1, firstly, 2026 is your year. And it would be a fantastic time to look into your chart and to get clear on your purpose. 1 energy is about beginnings. So in terms of career, they do well as a front person. The first person people think of, the first person people go to, the person who handles the crisis. This is where they shine. They are the action heroes. Now, there are different types of ones. For example, the 2810 ones are more likely to be in a physical job. The 3710 ones are more likely to be in an academic or communications job, because those secondary numbers are also important aspects. But overall, if you are looking for a career as a life path 1, go for something where you can be a bit of a disruptor, a black sheep, and show initiative and be rewarded for it. If originality isn't valued, you're in the wrong place. You are going to get exhausted. Your adrenals are going to go out. So somewhere where you can make a difference and or start your own thing. If you've got a number 2 life path, and this could of course cover you if you're an 11 as well, partnerships are your superpower and also your wound. And so I'm an 11 too. And honestly, if I didn't do what I did, I probably wouldn't talk to people, Hayden. Because before all of this, I was like, people are just intense. They're difficult. But when you do this type of work, you've got to walk the talk. So 2s have this ability to help people to feel calm, supported, go back into their intuition, go back into their trust. In their jobs, they need to feel connected. Even if they work digitally, there has to be a sense of camaraderie. They need to feel like they are part of something bigger and something that is creating more healing in the world. So if you're a life path 3 with your career, you're doing a lot of healing of your inner child. And this can often be someone who hides their dreams and they appear very successful on the outside, but there's a lot of things they still haven't explored. They can be super creative. They can think on the spot. They often have a gift of like wit and humor, and they do well in a position where they're helping people to make decisions. You do see a lot of CEOs with strong 3 energy because people want to know their opinion. If you're a life path 4, and this is all about the heart, I feel like this is such a misunderstood number. In Chinese, 4 is unlucky because it sounds like death. And in Western culture, 13 is unlucky because of a lot of made up myths that are absolutely not true. When actually 4 is about the heart, which is an anagram for earth, and it's about true love. So to me, it's one of my favorite numbers, and I love 444. In terms of careers, these people are here to bust superstition, help people to think clearly, plan ahead. They are incredible organizers and they work so hard. So often with the 4s, they never switch off. So they need to be in a position where they are not taken for granted or exploited. Otherwise, their heart goes out. It's a very obvious physical thing that will happen, and their breathing will be affected, even their arms and hands, because that's part of the chakras. So they need to be in a position where they can work hard, but also be respected for it. A lot of them do something like trades, business, property, etc., because those things you can touch and feel. So life path 5 is all about the throat chakra, and these people often have experienced persecution. At the same time, they can have a lot of compassion for people who've lost their voice or can't speak up. They do well in a position where they get lots of variety. It's not the same thing every single day. You see them a bit like a doctor, where they can kind of mix with all types of people. They can be quite non-judgmental and objective, which is just lovely, but they need to be in a job where they get to dictate like when they work and how they work. And in that way, they're a little bit similar to the 1s. The life path 6s, you see, they're at the top of the chart in the middle, and I call them the guardian angels, the visionaries, and they're healing the 3rd eye. This is a lot to do with work-life balance, mental health, and seeing other realms. So they do well in a job where they are responsible. And this includes, sorry, I forgot with the 4s, that includes 22s. It's just when you have the double number, it's a little bit more intense and your mission is a bit bigger. The 6s, that would include the 33s, just to be clear. So these 6s need responsibility. They can achieve a lot because they have this ability to influence others. People will follow them, for better or for worse. They need to feel like what they're doing is making a long-term difference. Short-term wins really irritate them, and especially things that are hurting the planet, hurting animals, hurting people. This is, of course, if someone's working their number in that kind of highest vibration. The 7s, I call them the spiritual teachers and the eternal students. So those people often will sit in the corner. They're very observant. I feel like with them, their work needs to involve knowledge. They will be very lateral thinkers, and even like the number, their life is a detour. It's not, A to Z. It's like A to Neptune to Z. And so they need an occupation where they're allowed to study, research, ask questions, and take their time to do a good job. They really do like things to be high quality, and even perfect would be a word I would use. They need that time, otherwise they get incredibly stressed, sometimes even a bit paranoid and reclusive. Your life path 8, and this also covers 44 8s. They have a big energy field. Oh my gosh, you always feel them before they come in the room, before they call you. They just like radiate energy. They don't always know why. They're like, why do people step back when I enter the room? I'm like, eh. We call them the bosses, and their advantage is they are very clever and strategic. This is the only number in that whole grid where it's fully enclosed. They are a one-stop shop. They can be highly successful in anything they want to do, but they must be ethical. So their career needs to allow them to work with big deals, big systems, big money, big amounts of people, but in a way that, you're doing the right thing, because 8 is about karma. And I think 8s naturally know if you stiff someone, it comes back 10 times over. They don't like that. So our beautiful life path 9s, I work with a lot of 9s. They don't ask for help, but when they do, I drop everything, because it's usually once in a lifetime, right, Hayden?
Yeah, totally. I'd never asked for help. I've only actually turned to you. You're the first person I've actually turned to help to do a live over the equinox. So yes, absolutely.
I really appreciate you, Hayden. I work with a lot of 9s. 9s and 11s get along really well because they have a mission that spans many lifetimes, and they are really thinking about that big overall picture. So with the 9s, we call them the old souls. They've been on Earth a long time, and to be honest, they've ticked a lot of boxes. Like, they've often been famous, they've been rich, they've been beautiful, and you know what? There's more to life. Like, those things are important in certain ways, but there's more to life, and it's really about what you leave behind. So their career need, oh, geez, that was a big goosebumps. Whoa, spirit just went, oof. Goodness, give me a sec. Obviously need to breathe. Sorry, everyone. Oh,
Have a
obviously
glass of water, Sarah.
What was that?
Have a glass of water.
Yeah, no, something just happened there. I might need to slow down. Maybe everyone's getting dragged along. Hang on. Sorry, folks, I do get a bit excited. I've got a lot of 1s in my chart. Let's try that again, everyone. Let's take a breath. Okay, so 9s help you over a finish line. And at the same time, they often struggle to let go. These are the people who'll stay in a marriage 50 years or a job for 20 years, even though they're not like totally happy, because they want to do the right thing. And so when they do finally ask for help, I'm serious, like, drop everything, take a day off work and go help them move house, because it is so rare that they open up. Yes, there are some 9s who actually ask for too much help, but in my experience, they are the minority. 9s need to feel like they're helping humanity, they are helping the disadvantaged, and that they are reaching beyond Earth. And they definitely would resonate with a lot of your work, Hayden. I'm sure a lot of 9s, or people with strong 9s in their charts, are watching you and supporting you, or want to do so. So obviously that's a massive whistle-stop tour. I hope that some of it landed. I do get a little bit nerdy about it.
I love it. You do so well.
And energy for people.
Well, what I love about you, Sarah, is that you are so thorough. You really delve deeply into things properly. So, and I think that's really needed. It's really, really needed, because it's so multi-layered, and it's actually multi-dimensional. So you can't just think that one cap fits all. You really do need to look at those compound numbers that sort of are there before you reduce it down, like your numbers down to either a single digit or a 10, 11, or a 22.
Oh, well, we all know that this is the explosive controversy in numerology, because I use the add across method, where we add from left to right, which retains the important age turning point information. But there are a lot of people who will use the sum and then add, and I cover that on my blog, and I'm like, hey, go for it. It's exactly like personal years. I started at the birth month, and 50% of numerologists start on January 1. Go for it. I'm from a science background. I think it's really important people test information and continually update their systems. And for me, I've just found it to be super accurate what I'm using. And when I've changed the system, everybody complained. And so for me, those are not the people coming to me, but for sure, there are different people in this world. And it's not about numerology, palmistry, astrology. It's about listening. It's about questioning. It's about healing. So I try to just pair it right back to basics, and even just having that conversation with people where I go, hey, feel free to question my system. It may not be for you. There's a freedom in that undoes a lot of the torture we've gone through being told there's only one way to heaven or there's only one way to be good, right? That conversation is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Sarah. I think that's so important to remember. Well, look, Jessica's saying, that her birthday is the 5th of April, 1984, and she was born at 6:09 in Buffalo, New York. I believe I'm a life path 4. So, if you were to...
So she's a 31-4. So I actually think 31-4. So you'd definitely be wanting to think back to the age of 4 and the age of 31, early 30s, how you've been really healing your heart, following your heart. 31-4s, I know a lot of them, okay? I don't know why, but maybe because I have a 4 in my name, and I just love people who are a bit scientific. 31-4s have such a big heart for everyone except themselves. In general, look, there are definitely outliers in this world, but they will put everyone else before themselves. And because they're so incredibly hardworking and lovely, no one will question them. Like, they will feed 12 people and not have eaten. And no one will question them because they'll be too busy going, gosh, you're a great mum, or you're a great dad, or I love being your friend. And it takes a brave person to say, hey, what's going on? And they'll get defensive. So make sure you keep people around you who are not takers, people around you who are givers as well. And for sure, you're going to have friction with those people, but they could save your life. Because I know with 4s, they keep a lot inside. And like I said, it really affects their breathing and their heart. I'm just going to have a look. So you are in a 1 personal year from April. So I've got some really great turning points coming up. So for you, this is really a time to try things you've never tried, or go back to the things that truly make you happy. In a 1 personal year, you get to put yourself first. It's the only year in the 9-year cycle you get to do that. And you're in tune with the planet, which is also in a 1 year. So this is that year to be the black sheep, even though as a 4, that's probably really scary to you. But please understand, love follows freedom. Now, I'm hearing a bit of audio, Hayden. Is that someone talking? I think maybe someone's talking.
It might be my dog. He's licking himself.
Sure, we'll go with that. I sometimes hear dogs, so I'm just like...
Yeah, no, he is. He's having a good old lick.
Hey, I'm glad you're feeling good over there.
That's right. Okay, so
yeah,
we've
feel
also
free
got
to give
Dina.
us some feedback.
Dina's a 44.
Well, you know how many times I've talked to people, Hayden, and their dogs have given me the truth. Like, they say one thing, their dog will give you the
truth. Monty's a life path number. He's a life path number 3. So no, sorry, he's an 8. He's an 8. So he likes to be in control.
Where's is this a comment, or is this
yeah, this is a comment. So this is Dina. Yes, no, I was talking about Monty as well, but no. Dina is a 44-8. And her children are life path numbers 3, 11, and 22, and their father is an 8. His father is an 11 and his mother is an 8. As I'm adopted, I wonder the life paths of my birth parents I know for adoptive family. So try and decode all of that and figure out a good response.
Yeah, and it's great to see you here. Thanks to, I know she follows me on Facebook. Firstly, I haven't seen your date of birth recently, so I would always double check, because 44-8 is so rare. I've only known maybe 5 in 20 years. So firstly, just do double check that. But if you're sure, That's cool. I've got a whole page on it on my site, and I'm going to profile a 44 soon. So based on what you're asking, we would probably need to use mediumship. Now, you can use mediumship for people who are alive, and it's in fact always been part of my work. I just never realized that's what I was doing. Everybody has a vibrational field that you can tune into with permission and with the right kind of process. So yes, you might want to actually do some prayers to be, shown that information, or again, pendulum, muscle testing. At some level, everything is already written and known. And so with, again, the right processes and the right approach, there is often a way. But if someone's out there and they cannot find the information they're looking for about themselves or their parents, please understand there may be a very good reason for it, and/or there's still a very good life ahead of you. Not everything has to be in place for us to be, joyful. So it's almost like do what you can and then just enjoy what's right in front of you. It sounds like you're obviously very interested in numerology, which is fantastic. Really appreciate your support.
Yeah, and I'll chime in there a bit with the 44/8 because I know what you mean. I very rarely meet them, but I actually met one yesterday, and
Awesome.
what came up was well, in Lynn's book, Lynn Wes talks about the master numbers that go beyond 33, and he talks about them being the architects of the new earth, which I think really, sort of made this girl feel like it's a big responsibility, to be an architect of the new earth, sort of like almost like a physical creator of it. Do you see that as being part of the 44 energy as well? Like there is that sort of higher purpose of actually being almost like a builder of it.
I'm just deciding how provocative to be. All right. I have a particular take on this. People need to pay their bills, even psychics. There is a bias towards creating unique systems like my numerology system or my card system, because then you can copyright it, you can make money off it, you can train people. Like it is life, okay? But I think we need to sometimes just step back and go, what gives people the most freedom to explore themselves? I personally found when I discovered I was an 11, there was a lot of pressure. Just so much pressure. You're like, oh, I already kind of felt a bit doubtful, and now I'm supposed to be a spiritual messenger on the world stage. Like that's a lot. When I discovered that it happens more from your turning point, which was 29, which is when I took up numerology, that helped. And what also helped is what you'll find on my site, which is I listed all the famous people with my life path, like hundreds of them. And I looked at their lives and I went, I see how they do it. Actually, no, that looks good. I could do a bit of that and a bit of that. So choose the approach to numerology that keeps you regulated in your nervous system, that keeps you laughing, and that keeps you free and open, because you can absolutely use numbers to control, manipulate, and oppress. You can say things like, you're a 7, you'll never be rich. People do this because maybe they're not very conscious, maybe they're trying to make you buy their Lucky Charms. There is no qualification to be a psychic that is fantastic and terrible. You can literally just say, I am a numerologist, set up a business in a couple of days. The truth is there is karma at play, and we have Google reviews, which is great. But I believe it's one reason I was sent into the industry. I definitely didn't expect to do this. I was pretty happy in my fundraising and charity jobs, but I felt deep down that there was something a little bit skew with in the spiritual world. And now that I've been in it for 20 years, there's still a lot of hidden religion in there where people are made to feel bad for being who they are. So Hayden, I know you don't do that, but I have to say something because I have that platform today, and I hope it doesn't come across too harsh.
I love that. No, I absolutely love it because
we need to question our systems and motives all the time, because it is so easy to be like, well, mine's a little bit better than yours.
Oh, I doing the numerology show, you can imagine, I've sort of seen all these new numerology systems from everybody. Everyone's got a different take on it. And I'm like, Oh my God, I'm so confused now. And I'm
This
like,
is why there isn't that belief in numerology, because I've seen a lot of stuff that's not numerology be called numerology. That's like saying this is chocolate and it's actually a banana. Like, no wonder people don't believe in it. You know, in an ideal world, there'd probably be a few more academies and things teaching it, and I know you teach and things like that. But perhaps that's also the beauty of the industry, is it's a bit, basically you have to be psychic to find a proper psychic. It's kind of funny in that regard.
It's absolutely true. Well, look, Alexander, the ganja shaman,
Wow.
44.8, he's also a 44.8. So you've now met 7 instead of just 5, Sarah. And
Okay. I have
yeah,
to admit that until I know someone's date of birth, actually, I don't know for sure. I've just met a lot of people who are like, I'm an 11, 22, 33, or 44. And when we add it up, they're not. So I'm not trying to burst, but I usually like to check the date of birth. Now, I understand today that's not possible, so I'm just going to go with it. I think it's fantastic that you've come onto this call. I encourage you to check out my 44 page, and you might want to just consider, in my Patreon, I have surveys for each life path. It'd be lovely if you filled out the survey at some point. But yeah, talk about numerology. You might find a lot more 44s. The ones I've found are always involved in philanthropy. I am going to be profiling Anna Arcana. She's the 44 I've met, and all her Patreon proceeds go to saving animals, and she's raised like over 100,000 doing that.
wow.
And so, yeah, there's always an element of philanthropy with those people. And I think that's partly the 8 as well, which is doing the right thing over the generations. Now, I'm just checking. So Alexander's asked, when do their master numbers reach their full potential? Couple of things here. The life path is only part of your chart. We need to look at the whole chart ideally. But secondly, well, obviously around 8 and 44 are going to be pivotal experiences. But in terms of when someone reaches full maturity, what does that even mean? There's levels and levels and levels, isn't it? It's not a great answer perhaps, but there's levels. I feel like in terms of when you truly fall in love with yourself, with most people, it's usually 30s, 40s onwards. I feel like it just takes that long. But the exception to that is the new children who are reaching their potential in the primary school. So yeah, I'm feeling 30s and 40s realistically. The other thing that could help, is just coming in now, is spend time with people who are master numbers and also people who are not master numbers. You will get a lot from both camps. I have been in groups where everyone's a master number and I quit. It was actually too much for me. It was too much energy. And sometimes I like to hang out with people who don't know numerology and things like that. And I'm sure you know what I mean, Hayden, because like when I go to my art class, they're just looking at my croissant drawing.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, it's good to know
I
numerology.
actually don't
It's
like
very
talking about
important, but it's not
numerology. When I'm, when I'm not doing it, it's like, please don't talk to me about numerology. And it's like my least favorite subject when I'm not working.
Oh my God. So just double checking. So Alexander's just confirmed he is a 44. And I noticed he's also got a karmic 19 birthday. So that's pretty cool. That's like someone who often starts a movement. And I can also see he's got a 7, 8, 9. So very, very spiritual, very active, higher chakras. So meditation is really important, because otherwise, yeah, you'll have a lot of great ideas, but it'll hard to bring them into reality. I also see that you are actually 39, 38. So you've still got several years before 44. Something that I got wrong when I was first being a numerologist is I was very prescriptive, and I would say, well, at 36, you'll probably have a kid because you're a 36-9. No. That's too much pressure. And especially if the person is a child, that's way too much pressure. I don't do that anymore. But what I would say is over the next several years, Alexander, you might discover that you have a lot of important information to bring through. 8s are fantastic at creating new systems, new businesses, new industries. And that's coming from numerology and my psychic ability, which is something I've learned to do because it's a lot more fun, to be honest. No one wants to just be a set of numbers, right?
Nobody. There's lots of 8s in the chat, isn't there? We've got a 35-8 here as
8s
well.
are funny. 8s are funny because honestly, they're like, I don't believe you, but they go home and they're like, oh, they don't. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cold. Apologies, everyone. I'm very human. But yeah, 8s are funny because they often have a facade where they're just like nothing ruffles them, but they go home and they're like, ee. So I'm
My
really glad
husband's
we're
an 8.
recording this, and you can always watch it back. You can check out my website, check out Hayden's work. And with the 8s, they love to be very professional at what they do. So honestly, consider learning basic numbers. It is such an advantage, especially as an entrepreneur, as a teacher, as a parent, because you straight away understand what chakras people are healing and also like what's going to motivate them. There are so many people at the top of society who do use their numerology. I think it's no accident that Elon Musk is a 7 and he puts his businesses at 7 addresses and things like that. I wouldn't always agree with that, but I've often found people will use numerology in a very blunt way. So anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Well, there you go. We've got Elevate Your Third Eye. Great name. Born on the 30th of December 1984. And she's just saying, or he's saying, thank you very much for all of this knowledge. And
sure. So this person is a 2810-1. So obviously I was talking about you earlier, basically. This is your year to shine. This is your year to get up and to change your life and change your body and allow yourself to be different in like a really healthy way. I can see from your numbers, you've got the 1, 2, 3. So you are able to influence people. You are able to think on your feet. You could be a bit of a clown, a bit of a performer. What else am I seeing there? 6. Because I changed at the birth month, not January 1 in this system, you're still in a 6 personal year till December, whereas in other systems you'd be in a 7. I'll muscle test that and I'm getting a 6, so I'm going to go with it. So in this 6 personal year, it's a great time to make improvements to your house and relationships, especially around April, the personal 1 month. So yeah, you could be just about to meet someone. Good luck. Have fun.
Ooh, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? Sounds really exciting. And then Foxy Mama, another master number 33, 6 this time around. So we spoke about the 33 earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to add?
Oh, sorry. Keep going, Hayden. Sorry, there's a lag. And so it sounds like I'm the rudest person in the world, but there's a big lag. So I'll start talking and I'll be like, uh-oh.
Don't worry. I've had worse, Sarah. So, and I know you, so I'll let it slide.
Thanks, Hayden. So with the 33s, at one point, 33% of my waiting list was 33s, and I have an incredible resonance with 33s, 11s, and 9s. For some reason, always hanging out. So with the 33s, just please understand that you could also be functioning as a 6. And in fact, that's okay. So 80% of the time, you'll be working as your simpler number. So 80% of the time, I'm a 2 more than an 11. It's exhausting being a master number all the time. Honestly, 1 or 2 days a week is plenty. So please understand, as a 6, you do need an environment which is close to nature. It's beautiful. It's got supportive people in it, nice food. And then you can bring out your 33 rock star, provocateur, top-selling author. So you need to have those basic numbers sorted in order to access the potential of the master number. Otherwise, really, it just doesn't last. You just fall down. I'm really happy you could be here. Thanks, Foxy Mama. Great name too.
And then there's Harmony Blossom as well, born on the 10th of April, 1970.
Okay, this person's a master 22 in this system I'm using, and I'm saying that because there are other systems. This person's a master 22 there. So what's really interesting is there's not so many of them in the adult generations, but there is unbelievable amounts of master 22s in the younger people, which is so interesting because they come here to build peace and teach commitment and bring people back together. And that makes sense because we have a society which has become very individualistic. So the 22 is about lifelong relationships. Just think of swans swimming together. That's what the number looks like. These people are so funny. They are really good at bringing people together, and they also know exactly how to push their buttons. I'm being cheeky again. Forgive me, everyone. But they've also got that 4, so they're intensely practical. And again, they believe it when they see it. They need to be able to touch their success. There's people who buy a house around the corner. I can see this person is going into a 6 personal year from April. So call it April babies. That's really interesting because the Aries energy is so strong this year. So going into sorry, I just forgot, I'm going too fast. 6. Okay. So again, a lot of home life and relationship changes from next month. enjoy it. The 6th year is so beautiful. It's often a time that we can really start to receive a lot of the rewards for our hard work. It's 2/3 of the way through the cycle. Fantastic time to open your third eye to your beauty. A lot of people feel like they're not beautiful, and I find that AI can exacerbate that. I was just doing some AI yesterday, and it's so easy to tweak your face or your hair or your body. But if you're already prone to anxiety, just be aware that's a real slippery slope because no one's watching you, and if you don't be too careful, you'll end up looking like an alien. Not that there's anything wrong with aliens, right, Hayden?
No, there isn't. And I actually tweak my face a couple of times as well because it gets rid of my crow's feet and it makes me feel great. So, it depends on how emotionally balanced you are.
I feel like a little bit is good, but I feel like if you're doing it like all the time, we might just want to just check in. Just check in.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was joking. I've got an extremely good filter and a good ring light, and that's why I look so young, even though I'm 53.
You do look very young. But it's also got to be said, I rarely notice appearances these days. I'm always just about the energy and the life path. So when people come up to me, could be 20 years later, I'll be like, oh, hey, you're like a 35-8. And they're like, what? I look completely different. I'm like, you do? I don't know. I just see the number above their head. I'm like, ding.
Well, you only look about 12, Sarah.
Oh, no one's ever said that. I'll tip you later.
So
I have a
born-
very young energy because I'm very silly, and I think that's probably where it comes from.
You do, yeah, you are.
I'm also Asian, let's be honest, genetics are at play. So where were we? So we've got another person here popping up, 10, 14, 15, 24. So I think this is another 31-4. Oh, hello, doggy. Hello, darling. 10, 7, 2, 8. I'm just double checking if they're 22s in the other system, because sometimes, so I have this thing I call hybrids, people who can be like a 22-31 or a 22-40, and I actually allow for them, and I found it to be very accurate. Some people are working a more complex chart, but this person I think is a 31-4. Yep, so you're a 31-4, so you're a heart healer too. I think the main thing with you is, as a woman, particularly in a 4, you could be seen as a bad cop. People could be like, but why? Why can't we speed? Why do there always have to be so many rules? 4s are so good at helping other people to follow the rules and keep themselves safe and healthy, but the 4s themselves don't follow the rules. And that is actually really funny. So you need other.
They tend to get into trouble with authority figures as well, don't they? Sometimes they're more likely.
31. Yes, 31-4s, it has the same vibration as father. So with the 31-4s, I particularly like to look at what's the dynamic with the father, and even just that king energy we talked about. That said, when I did the most successful people in the world, like looking at all the numerology, because you find that stuff online, a lot of them were 31-4s because they are very patient. They are very strong. They can be actually quite formidable. And yeah, a lot of them can accumulate a lot of wealth. But anyway, sorry, let's go back. So the personal year, 5, 6. I think you're also going into a 6th year in April. Okay, this is getting a bit spooky. It's just like every April person has logged on today. There was a little sort of call out spiritually. That was pretty cute. Hang on, I'll just double check. I'm pretty sure you're going into a 6th year as well. I don't know what's going on, Hayden. Is this happening? Is this real?
Yeah, no, I find that a lot, when I'm doing numerology lives, that I'll get all the people that are going through their personal year 6s or the 7s or the 8s, or there'll be all the master numbers. Like,
Wow.
Anna's just said, like, Anna's like, oh my God, there's so many master numbers on this call as well. So all these master numbers in there.
I do attract people with master numbers as well, energetically. Like, I'm an 11, and a lot of my numbers are 11s, and a lot of my clients have master numbers. I do think there's something to it. When you have a master number, you need to be a little bit more careful with your energy, including how you speak, and what you do with your time, because everything is just like double or nothing. So yeah, there's probably something to it. I do feel people with master numbers can benefit a little more from numerology, just because perhaps even though it can be a bit scary, it can also bring them their tribe, and it can help them, I think, to just know where to point their energy.
I agree, actually. I attract 2911 specifically.
Yes, we talked about this in our first call, didn't we? Because I'm a 2911.
I know, and everybody that I meet, like I'm just about everybody, and then I'm like, oh, okay, there you are again. But also a lot of nines and sevens as well. But I think that's probably quite typical, in this circle, isn't it?
Sevens, nines, and 11s are particularly seeking information, so there is actually a reason. But I haven't looked at your full chart, and it's quite possible 7, 9, and 11 is prominent in your chart. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah,
I
it
don't think
is.
I
I've got the
find.
seven. The seven is my day number because it's
Uh-huh.
derived from number 16, and then I'm a life path 9. But I've got the way shower energy as well. There's a lot of one stuff going on through the name, so it's
Interesting.
yeah. We've got so many people in the chat today. It's great, isn't it? All
Well,
these
that's
new
good.
people
Yeah,
coming in.
no, that's what we want. That's what we want. We like the crowd. Bring it on.
There you
Who's our
go.
next? Integrity. Oh, there's another hot topic. Okay. I only know what I know. So I'm on Facebook and I'm on Insta. I'm not on TikTok, even though I've often been told I should be there. And I'm not on X because I actually struggle with that real quick turnaround stuff. I'm a little bit slow twitch. I used to work with turtles, just to give you an idea. So in terms of integrity with numerology, even someone who is high integrity can have a bad day or can have burnout. And it's just like food. If you go to a restaurant, which is always 5-star, but you get one meal that's off, it's probably still worth going, but you do need to give them feedback. But if you're always getting food poisoning, you're a sucker for punishment, mate, or trying to lose weight a little too quickly. So think of it like, even if someone has that great reputation, yeah, you still need to use your senses. You still need to check in with your body. I always use a lot of body check-ins and meditation with my clients. When I first started psychic reading, within a few months, I rapidly realized I had to study counseling. So I went to study holistic counseling because I felt irresponsible opening up all that energy and just leaving them crying or angry or freaked out. So it's not a bad idea to combine numerology with counseling, Reiki, yoga, crystals, something where there's something else there. I feel like numerology by itself is pretty confronting. Right? It's pretty confronting.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, if you have that relative who they're always right, but they're a bit full on about it.
Oh, that's my. I was going to name and shame then, and I thought better of it.
I
I
do.
better not
I
say
do.
that,
I
just in
work
case
with
they
a
want.
lot of I work with a lot of families, and my passion is working with the children of highly successful people, because highly successful people can be hard to, you know what I mean? Because they have such a strong personality. Their children have kind of come in to sort of upwardly manage that, and I feel like I can make a difference there. So it's a very specific niche, but very fascinating.
Oh,
Yep,
well,
that's a good thing that resonated. That's lovely.
that's really great. You are, you've given a lot of information to a lot of people today, Sarah. So we really are very appreciative, all of us. And I think that if people want to contact you, outside of this live, where's the best place for people to actually find you? Because I know you've got your own YouTube channel as well, haven't you? And you've got a really good
Um,
vlog or blog on your website as well.
yeah, look, I consider myself first and foremost a blogger. I
Yeah.
reluctantly went onto YouTube after someone recognized me when I was covered in baby vomit. And on that day, I decided that I had to start owning who I was. And I got on my first YouTube video is me wearing my dressing gown with the baby vomit going, I have a face. That's still up. But yeah, no, I really am more of a writer, and you can follow my blogs at sarayip.com, and I run live classes in Patreon. I do readings. My
You're on
readings
TV as well a lot. You're on GMTV, aren't you? Whatever it's called. What's it called? Sunrise or something.
I do mainstream TV, radio, media, and my family are in media. My ex was in media, so for me, it's very comfortable. And I think it's very important not only to have brown people on media, but brown psychic people on media. So that's part of my activism work. Honestly, just throw a crystal and you'll find me online. I'm pretty prolific. At the same time, I refer a lot, just to let you know. Like, I work with a big team of people, and if I can't help you, I'll usually refer you to someone else, because let's be honest, there's only so many hours in the day, and I hate wasting people's time and vice versa. So yeah, I like to think of myself as a connector, being a life path 11 too. And it gives me a lot of pleasure actually to send other people business. I really love, it's a really wonderful feeling, and it's a privilege to be able to use my platform to do that. Maybe I do it too much, is what I've been told. But
No,
anyway,
never. You're great. It's really great. I always get a thrill when I see you on TV. I'm like, go Sarah, and you're rubbing shoulders with the stars, and I'm like, oh, they know on a first name basis now, they're
you're so
getting
funny.
back on again.
I have a special interest in celebrities. The reason is that celebrities are extreme people, so their numbers and palmistry is super interesting. But also, I think we can learn a lot from them because their stories are public, their dates of birth are public. We can really match back the system. We can show the integrity, the accuracy of the system. And I particularly like profiling politicians, which is very niche, can I say? But I think it's important to know what's going on in that area. I'm just acknowledging there's someone in chat who really wants, I think maybe they had to correct their date of birth. Can I just have a look?
Oh, where's that? Which one was it? Oh, here we go.
Did she give us a different birthday before? 28 April 1970. 28 April. I think we've already done the reading for you.
Yeah, I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, sure. Maybe there was a lag, but we did do your reading probably a couple of minutes ago. Please watch the replay, and you'll see we talked about you. I really appreciate you being on the call. And yeah, look, the thing with media is once you start doing it and you get a relationship, it's actually not that difficult. So it is worth doing, Hayden. And I do coach a lot of people to get into the media. And honestly, it can be super fun. It can be super fun. When people send me little videos of me talking on screen, there's always like a lot of like in the background, you can always hear them going, oh my God, it's Sarah Yip. It's a little bit surreal because I don't really, to be honest, I'm quite insecure actually. But when you hear that, there's a part of you, like maybe the inner child, that's like, did it.
Yeah, totally. Give yourself a big pat on the back. It's great. It's really good. And so is there any last piece of advice and guidance that you want to give everybody that's either watching the live right now or the replay about the equinox, about this powerful gateway portal that we're experiencing and stepping through right now?
I suppose stop letting people tell you who you are and use the information encoded in your date of birth and your name to get to the essence of your soul. Because the great thing is, as soon as you do that, your vibration will change. People will stop messing with you. Opportunities will start coming your way. And most of all, you just stop comparing yourself to other people so much. So honestly, you don't need a permission slip to reach, paradise or bliss. It's all right there in your date of birth and your name, and the information is practically free. So please go for it. I don't think you'll ever look back. And if I can facilitate that, that's awesome. Very, very grateful to Hayden. He's created an amazing community here, and I really encourage you to keep supporting Hayden. I can see he's started the subscription and everything, and support your creators, because if you don't, we will disappear. Like, we also, we have those daily needs. So every time you every time you pay someone, it's a vote. And when you support local business or Australian creators and stuff, it makes a huge difference. And it's something that I really try to focus on in my business and how I conduct my life. So yeah, people power all the way.
People power, yay. Well, enjoy it. And thanks once again, Sarah, for joining us on this very special live edition of the Numerology show for the Firehorse Equinox. It's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is. I can't wait to get you back on another future live show as well. I think we should do this like maybe once every couple of months or so, don't you? Or when there's
we could do that.
Significant, sort of astrological gateways and portals and stuff like that. It would be amazing.
Well, anytime's a good time, Hayden. We've got a couple more people who have added their dates of birth. Did you want to do those in the last couple of minutes?
I'm going to have to go purely because I've got a session at 9:30, and I haven't prepared for it yet. So I'm just
I love how honest you are.
I'm in panic mode. I'm like, oh no,
Sorry. I
Yeah.
always talk extra, you know me. All right, well, sorry to the people we couldn't get to. Go to the calculator on my site, sarahayip.com. Follow me on Facebook, The Numbers Queen, Instagram, sarahayip1111. Support Hayden, he's amazing. And yeah, well, good luck. I'm sure you'll do amazing. It's all within you, Hayden.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time, guys. Big love. Mwah. Happy
Bye.
equinox, guys. Bye for now. Bye. Monty's telling me he's ready as well. There you go. So he's the one that rules the roost. He's a life path 8. He likes to be in control.
They got to keep us in check, mate. All right. Well, okay. See you next time, everyone.